Hello, everybody. I'm Dane Gentry. How's everyone doing tonight? We were supposed to be on at 8. Had a little issue to where I couldn't get on right at 8. Had to push it back 30 minutes. I do apologize about that. If anybody here that was waiting, we're here now. Hey, Nick. Uh, let's see here. Let me do this. There we go.
What's up, dude?
What's going on, man? How are you?
Hey, I'm still trying to get out of here, but I'm here with you, man.
Oh, yeah. Was you still at work? Still working?
Yeah, I'm just finishing up, so I
Yeah,
just
I had
figured I'd jump on and
it's
get
been
with
a
you.
day, man. You know, man, we do so much to family and relationship that 9 times out of 10 things are just not going to work out, man. They're just not. Um, we may want them to, and I went to a meeting, and I was supposed to be it was supposed to be earlier, and it got pushed back, and that's what I had to do this 30 minutes late for. But what was strange about it, and that's what these meetings are for, and what was strange about it is this guy I've never met. He knows nothing about me. I know nothing about him. And he was talking, and he looked at me and he said, after 12 years, my wife told me she wanted a divorce. And he said, now today I can deal with that. I ain't got to go out here and get high and all this. And so, um, we had a few good hours and we're right back to the same place we were, man. I'm done fighting it. I'm tired. It's just, I don't do anything. I'm not doing nothing wrong, but it's just the past, man. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Um,
yeah, that's always going to be there, though.
it is, and it's not going to go away. And um, I said a long time ago, I just didn't think that, in the past, uh, I don't know, 4 years, we've been apart way more than we've been together. You know what I mean? And yeah,
Well, maybe next month, maybe next year, who knows? Uh,
no, man, I think I
you
think it's
think it's
done,
done?
Nick. I think it's
Well,
it just, I mean, we can't even hardly stand to be around each other without arguing or, you
then
know,
it is
uh,
time to go on.
it is time. It's time, Nick. It is. So many things today showed me that. God, of course. But that deal there, definitely. It's just time. It's okay. You know what I mean? It's run its course or whatever. And when someone can look at you and basically tell you how much they hate you more than they love you, it's time to go home, man. It's especially when you don't do anything. So it's all good. Uh, so
Sorry to hear that.
um, I guess we was going to talk about my financial situation now compared to before.
Okay.
Before, since as long as I can remember, um, everything, no matter how much money I had, um, would go to drugs. Now, after me and Beth got together, like she would control things, and that was okay because she'd cut my cards off or what have you. You know what I mean? Just so I wouldn't spend all the money, and we wouldn't have the money to be able to pay the mortgage, rent, whatever. Um, and that it was that way. Like I wasn't to be trusted with money because I couldn't trust myself with it. Um, I would get sober and would make a lot of money, save money up, whatever. But then I'd relapse. And I was talking about that. When I started the business, it went successful overnight. And so, I had never been able to go and buy a brand new truck, and I wanted to go buy me a brand new truck. So I went and bought two of them. And but I celebrated by going and buying a quarter ounce of heroin.
Oh, yeah.
Um, and me and her were going to Crossville, Tennessee, to see the Memphis Outlaws. You know what that is? Like those drag racers or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't remember it because I was so high on heroin. Um, but you know, having that kind of money and still being able to work or whatever, you still can't do drugs. You're going to destroy everything. It doesn't matter because your work ethic's going to go down. I don't want to be at home and around Beth because I can't get high there. So I have to be where I can get high. You know what I mean? Um, and man, there's been so many times I didn't have money for put gas in my truck. I didn't have money to eat. I had nowhere to go. She's done had enough and can't be around the kid, and that's understandable. And I'm living in my truck, and it's wintertime and all that. So I'm keeping a gas motor running all the time. I'm just destroying the motor, um, and you're bumming and begging, and I never like stood out there and held a sign or done anything like that. I would do criminal acts, but
Right.
what I found out, and I was thinking about this the other day. I was talking to a sponsor about it. I said, early on in life, when I was young, I would commit these crimes, but now, after the age of 35, I haven't committed any crimes. Well, I have, but not that kind of crime. I sold dope, so that's how I would support my habit. I would do it that way. But um, and what he said to me was, he said, "Well, do you think that was your change happening all those years ago?" I said, "Definitely, without a doubt. My morals started changing and all these different things." I said, "Now, don't get it wrong. Now, if I would have had to, I probably would have done the same old things. You know what I mean?" But I always had this deal about, you just don't steal stuff from a hardworking man. Definitely don't steal his tools and all these type of things. I know a lot of people that do them kind of things, and I wouldn't do that kind of stuff. But I've still done stuff I shouldn't do. But yeah, man, I've been hungry and not care until you're sitting there or whatever. And this young kid was talking about it. He said it pouring down rain in December, and all I cared about was getting enough money to get a bag of dope, living in a tent, freezing to death. And there's so many people like that, and it didn't matter whatever you got. I promise you, the first thing you thought about was not going to be food; it was going to be the dope. Um, and so you start getting sober, and these are the things that you want to think about, but you don't want to think about at the same time. For me, the hardest things to think about was her. I didn't want to deal with her because she can be overbearing and a little too much. And she knows better, but it's different when it's someone that you love, because it's just different. I mean, I said this earlier in this little thing I did. The ones that love us, when we come in and we get sober, when you first get sober, you're on this pink cloud, man. Everything's great. Just, man, you're feeling good again. Your serotonin's coming back. All these different things are coming back. But the second someone hits you with something from the past, boom, it just knocks your feet out from under you, and you don't want to deal with it. But today, financially, man, I can go buy me something to eat. I can pay my phone bill, and pay a car payment, pay my rent. I don't have to worry about it. I can do all these things. I can start a podcast, man. I can and spend some time on it, and I'm okay. But if I was to pick up dope today, tomorrow I would not be okay. Um, but I do everything every day to ensure that I don't do that. Um, but it ain't always been this easy. Um, I know because of the program, I won't go back. But at the same time, I think I finally freaking grew up, Nick, to be honest about it. Um, I wasn't grown. I may have been in a grown man's body, and I may have went through all these things in life, but I was a scared little kid on the inside. Um, and even when you're strung out, it is difficult for me. It was difficult for me to ask anybody for anything. You do it, and you'll go above and beyond to do it, but it was just so degrading. If that makes sense. Um,
Oh no, I agree.
it's it's how some people do that, like stand up there and hold them signs. I had a buddy that did it, and I asked him. I said, "Man, isn't it degrading?" He said, "Yeah, man." He said, "People throw water on me. People cuss me out. People throw full cans of stuff at me, and I'm just like, I just feel like I would just try it a different way." But when you're in that rut, you get in that rut, and what it is that he stood out there and held that sign one time, and it worked. He got the money, so he now he figures no matter what, it's going to work, and it did. And so, but he did that for, I don't know, about a year. He's sober today too. The guy I'm talking about, he's been sober now for about 6 months or so. But everybody says the same thing when it comes to finances. You'll hear it 100 times a year at these meetings and stuff. Today, I mean, just stop and buy a freaking cup of coffee. There's been many times I couldn't even buy a cup of coffee or get a can of dip because every single penny, if you had, okay, let's say that the dope is $40 you're paying for. If you had $50, you think you're going to save the other 10 for what you need? No, you're going to tell them, look here, man, throw extra in there. Now I got 50. you're not going, you're not just going to get the 40. It's just the insanity of it. And, I used to say, and this came to me today, and I've said this right here for a long time because someone said it to me. They said that I loved drugs more than I loved anything else. That's not true. That's really not true. That's not what it is. The drugs controlled me more than they did or she did or whatever. It wasn't that I loved them more. It wasn't that I loved being an addict. Um, I hated being an addict. I hated every fucking day of it. But I did it because why? I didn't want to be sick. I didn't want to have to go to treatment again. I done went so many times. I don't know how many times I went to treatment, man. Probably 10. All in a year's time. I went to like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. I went to 8 different treatment centers in 1 year. And so I would go and but the thing is that I would go because the parole officer said I had to, Beth said I had to, my brother said I had to, or whatever. It was never because I said to myself, "That's it, I've had enough." Until the last time. The last time I knew it was my last time because I knew I was going to do everything that they told me I needed to do, and it's that's another. People when you're in treatment, people come in there from the outside who have been sober for a long time and bring in what's called these H&I meetings. You can probably know what I'm talking about, but and they would all say the same thing. You got to do this program. Day you leave, make a meeting, and you don't do that because you wasn't done, you wasn't ready. But the last time I knew, I was like, man, I'm going all in on this thing. I'm gonna give it a try, and I'll be damn, it works. Um,
I think it does when you're ready.
I can barely even hear you, Nick.
Can you hear me now?
Uh-uh.
Huh.
I heard you good at first,
Can you hear me better now?
a little bit.
Huh. There, I muted. Was that better?
Mm-mm. You're still real low, real low.
I'm sorry, dude. I'm in the building. I don't know if it's my angle or what, but
It must just be uh, the whatever. If don't nobody come on, we'll probably just do 30 minutes. We'll call it. Um, Seems to be most people are liking the 30-minute shows, the pre-records. One from last night did okay. I think I had 57 downloads today. I think something like that.
that's good.
Yeah, that's good. Me and the old man that got canceled. We're going to have to reschedule that. But
Did y'all
listen,
decide?
I got some great news. I got some exciting news though. So I was talking to a guy today, and I just brought up the podcast thing, and he said, "Are you serious about this podcast thing?" I said, "I'm very serious about it." He said, "Well, you need to talk to Dylan." And I said, "Who is Dylan?" He said, "He's one of my best friends." I said, Why do I need to talk to Dylan?" He said, "Because he's hooked up with all your major podcast guys, knows them very well." And I said, "Really?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, then yes, I need to talk to Dylan to get on those shows." He said, "We're going to make it happen." So that's some exciting news. Um, Again, it's just another one of those things that let me know I'm doing the right thing. But I'm not. I'm not on here tonight. I'm pissed off. I'm not going to lie about it. I'm pissed off at Beth. I'm pissed off at her bad. But I'm not on here tonight to throw her under the bus. But what I will say is this: you can't have negativity in your life, Nick. If you do, that's all that's going to come your way. And
You're gonna go right back to what you were doing.
she she is just negative and always has been. I didn't cause that. That was her from the beginning. She's just that person. There's some underlying issues there that um, she needs to work on. Um, I mean, who is this?
That I don't know.
I invited them on. I don't think they came on. You can call back up if you want to. I tried to put you on. It didn't come on.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who it is.
I don't know. I've never seen that name before.
Hey there.
Hey, man. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm just hanging in there, man.
What you got going on, buddy?
Not much. I was just joining podcasts, seeing what's going on with people.
I hear you, man. On this show, we talk a lot about addiction, man, and hope and mental health and all these different things. Really, just we want people to reach out, that struggling with things or going through something, man, or just a conversation too. You don't have to be going through anything. We're glad you're here.
Thank you. Just wanted to pop in and see how everybody was doing, but I'm gonna get off here.
All right, buddy.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Have a good one. He didn't. He didn't want to talk. Sucker 27. Uh, at first, I thought he sounded like he was going through some shit, didn't
Yeah.
he? I thought we had one. He could have stayed long enough to like the show, I guess. He, he must be more to the drinking and partying crowd. Um,
Sounded younger.
what I found is that if if someone controls your emotions in a bad way, it's just not a good thing. You know what I mean? I can't hear you again. Um, I do find it strange that suddenly just nobody's coming to my shows. It's not a big deal. I know because I'm wanting it for the recordings anyway and the downloads, and I want to have this stuff. But it kind of makes me, you know. So I went around on a couple of those shows today just to see what kind of welcoming I would get. Um, hey there, how you doing? I don't know, have a clue how to say your name. Um, why? I'll call you Why. How you doing? Why? Nick, if you're talking, Nick, I can't hear you. Um,
No, I'm not talking.
okay, I heard you then.
Okay. I think it's my phone.
Um, you know,
Sometimes it plays games on me.
yeah, I heard you, and you went way down. Um, you had said that earlier about um, how people, huh? I can't hear you. I can't hear you at all. Can you? Why there? Can you hear him talking when he's talking?
I'm here.
I can't.
No?
Um, you said that about uh, how people treated me or whatever after the fact. Um, man, it was people probably treated me better than I thought that they did. Because it was really the shame you live with. Um, you live with all the shame, and so it's your own self conscience telling you. And I didn't see any of my family for over 20 years, and I finally decided to go to a Thanksgiving, and because I was sober, and I wanted everybody to see me, and I wanted to show off my brand new truck and all this stuff, and we went, and I had a great time. She didn't. She just kind of ruined it for no reason. Um, and then I didn't go back for Christmas, and I didn't go back for a couple more years, and then uh, when me and her first started separation, I went without her, and I had an amazing time. And they welcomed me just like nothing ever had ever happened. Uh, but again, it's in your mind. Your mind's telling you that they don't want you here. They're not going to accept you, but they do, and they did. But then I didn't go this year. I just ever since my grandparents passed away, the family thing just isn't the same. When we were kids, we all went for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and all that stuff. But when they passed away, but I think now they're starting to go a little bit more. Like my uncles and all moved pretty close to my brother. A couple of them did, or one of them did, and so just I don't think anybody today is as close with family as he used to be.
Well, as you get other family members that get their own family, it's harder.
You're down in that hole again. I can hear that you're saying something, but I can't hear it at all.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
Mm-mm. No, I can't. Um, when you, uh, we'll go about 10 more minutes probably, man. We'll probably cut this off. But when you live your life on the other side there and doing all that, and then you look at the rest of your family, and none of them do it. None of them do them things. And my brother, I'll say this about him. I'm a big fan of my brother, man, because of the things he's done. But when he was 17, he was running with a couple of boys, and they all got in a little bit of trouble. Uh, and they ended up charging him as an adult, and he got 3 years probation. And he was young or whatever, and he did a little bit of jail time. Uh, but I was fixing to go to prison, and he was in jail, and he was getting out, and he came and he said, "I hate this for you. I hate that you got to go and do all this." He said, "But this is it for me. I'll never walk back into jail again." And he didn't. He changed his whole life. And
Good for
but
him.
that's another thing. It wasn't no violent crimes. It was like auto burglary or something. Is that it was? It was something small. And then he went on and never got another charge of any kind. And all these years later, he didn't want to be a convicted felon anymore. So he wanted to get his record expunged. I don't remember the number of money that it cost him to do that, but it was a lot. And things like that need to change. People make mistakes, especially kids. You know, and because he owns a record business, so they won't let you be on like the highway patrol. Won't let you on their list if you're a convicted felon, not in the state of Tennessee, and that's a big deal. That's taking money away from him, so that's why he did it. But if I'm not mistaken, I think it cost him about 100 grand uh, just to get that expunged off his record. But he did it. He's legally able to carry a gun and vote and do all these things now. Um, I'll never be able to unless I had millions and millions of dollars. It would cost me so much, and I'm not even going to try. It's just part of who I am, and I probably wouldn't vote anyway. I'm not big on politics. I do think we need Republicans back in there. That's as far as I'll go with that. But because I just think it's all just a shit show, really. Um, at the end of the day, because it seems like the more I look at stuff, and I think, hell, most of y'all should be in prison, But no, I was a poor kid in a very, very wealthy town. See, I grew up in a very, very, very wealthy town, the third richest county in the United States of America per capita. I think it's fifth now, but then it was third. Williamson County, Franklin, Tennessee. That's where all the country music stars live. And what's up, Super Sam? And now the football players too, and hockey players. And so there's not. It's a great, great place to raise your kids. There's no crime there. I mean, there is, but it's simple stuff. You very rarely do you hear about any murder or robbery. You hear about a lot about like auto burglaries and those type of things. And what's up, Shorty? Um, they
Tell Shorty to get up here.
yeah, I've called her because I can't hear you. I sent her a thing because she might not she might not be able to talk right now. But um, Williamson County, Tennessee is, you're not going to go there and uh, commit crime because they got a place for you and they're going to put you in jail. And uh, your kids are loud. My kids are loud.
Her kids. Her
Oh, I
kids.
bet you hear my TV. Oh, hold on a second.
No, it's her kids.
There we go. Is that better? No, her kids. Oh, her kids are loud. My bad. How you doing tonight? You good? Uh, can you hear Nick?
Hey, can you
I
hear me?
heard you then. You got a little loud or something. Yeah, I heard you then. Um,
Go on with your story about where you lived.
okay, yeah, I forgot where I was at. Um, when I was little and young, it was just like it was a small town. There was a lot of money there, but it was a small town. And in like 1988, 89, somewhere around there, um, they brought the Saturn plant down, and it was built in Spring Hill, Tennessee, which is part of it is Whimsy County, and part of it's Murray County. But when they done that, that changed everything. All these people come from up north and moved, and then there was already these $5-10 million mansions spread out. Now that's pretty much just all that's in that town, and they got it by design that way, and they keep annexing it out, and so it changed then, and Franklin became what it is today. And when I went to prison and came back, I didn't even know how to get around Franklin. There's roads I had no clue. They done renamed roads. They got what's called 840, which is just like a interstate that or highway that goes out or whatever. And me and my brother were coming from Nashville to go see my mother, and we were on it. And I was like, "Man, what road is this?" And he started laughing. He's like, "Oh, I forgot. You don't even know about 840, do you?" And I was like, "No." Um, but I was scared to death um, riding in a vehicle. I just knew I was going to die. That's all I kept thinking about is that I'm going to be one of them stories, man. I did all that time and I'm going to get freaking killed in a car wreck. And we'd be driving. I'd have my feet so pressed hard against the floorboard. It was crazy. And I did that for a long time. And another thing was, he drives wreckers and diesel engines. I would get in that diesel engine and be in it about 30 seconds. I'd be falling asleep like a little baby. I don't know what that was. I guess it was just that's a long time. I didn't move from one spot at all for 8 years. I stayed in the same spot in the same prison for 8 years, the last 8 years of it. And so whenever I left, it was strange. I mean, it was just everything was so strange. But the strangest part is seeing your hometown, and you don't have a clue. I mean, everything. This used to be this, and now it's this, and it's just so many houses everywhere, and it's a crowded town, and it's just a very, very wealthy town. But that's good for business. That's where I made a lot of my money in my business. Was there. Brent, they got what's called Brentwood, and yeah, it's a great place to, like I said, raise your kids because you ain't got to worry about them. Um, but I'll say this, and for the smallest of things, though, they want to give you a lot of time. It was a in my time there. Franklin was a very corrupt town. I knew a police officer, and he told my mother he was leaving. He said, "I will not work for a police department this crooked." And a lot of things went on, and even in my case, a lot of the things that I went to prison for, I didn't even do. They just kind of threw it all in as a package deal so they could get the convictions, and I had to take it because if I would have went to trial, I probably would have never got out. Well, I would have got out, but I'd be a lot older than I am now, and I knew that because they have a 99% conviction rate in that county. So I knew not to even mess with that. But yeah, it was.
That's what's not fair.
Huh?
To me, that's not what's fair.
It's not fair. It's not fair. I mean, a lot of things went on in my life in it that I got the shit show end of it because I was poor, and I got a rich girl pregnant when we were in eighth grade, and I got kicked out of school because the parents filed a restraining order on us not to see each other, and so they kicked me out of school. Uh, they put me on what was so-called homebound school for. I went to school for 2 days a week for an hour and a half, and that lasted for about a month, and the teacher never came back. And that was it. No one ever came and said, "Why is he not going to school?" No one ever said, "You need to go do this." Nothing. It was just like, didn't care. The poor kid was, we got rid of the poor kid. He's not in our school system anymore, kind of deal. Um, and that's how it was. But what was even worse is that when I got hit by that truck, when I talk about that when I was 11 years old, what happened was I didn't do my homework or something. And so the teachers and all that kept me after for an hour, right? But they didn't contact my mother or nothing. So whenever I was walking home, there's no crossing guard, and I got hit. And so my mom got a lawyer, and the lawyer refused to sue the Franklin City School District, which that's who you should have sued. But they did that because they paid her not to do it because it would have been a huge deal. And we would have got a lot of money. And my mother, for whatever reason, man, I went through all that and I didn't get a damn thing for it other than fucking drug addiction and half my life in prison. But
Your
um,
mom got a lot of money.
Huh?
You said
No,
that
she
you didn't
didn't, but
get
she
one?
could have. She could
Okay,
have.
could have.
Yes, and should have. If the lawyer would have sued the school district, and she refused to do it. Why my mother didn't go and get another lawyer, I don't know. Um, I think at the end of the day, if I'm correct on this, I may be wrong, but I believe it paid all my hospital bills, and she got $1,000. I think at the end of it is all it was. Um, and so I didn't get anything. All I got was a whole lot of years of pain and suffering, and but it's okay. It's okay. It is what it is now. But um, those are the things and resentments and shit that I had to get over. I had all these resentments that I didn't know I had. I had a lot of resentments towards my mother. I didn't know I had, and as you go into therapy or whatever, and you start getting sober, man, you find all these things out, and that's what it's for. That's what the program is designed to do. And I turned to find out, man, I was carrying around a lot of shit, and that's the whole idea. You have someone safe that you can talk to that's really digging this shit out of you because you don't want to, and it takes time, and that's why you do this step work and you do all these things, and the more you do it, and the more comfortable you come with the sponsor, it's hard. Listen, it's hard for a man to tell another man, I need your help. Uh, I'm broken. I'm messed up, man. I can't control my own life. I can't live. I need your help to help me do this. And for me, that was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my life. I said it one time. I said, man, I'd rather go back to prison and have to ask this man to help me. But when you finally do it, everybody thinks the same way. You're sitting in there in these rooms, and they say, the newcomer, raise your hand and ask for help, and nobody does it because they're all sitting there thinking the same thing. Oh man, they're not going to help me. I'm too messed up, man. There's no way they're not even going to want to. They're going to tell me sorry, or whatever, and that's just not true. You raise your hand, and they'll give you a list of numbers a mile long, and every person on that list is wanting to help you. So if anybody hears this down the line, just remember that there is people out there. Just raise your hand. That's all you got to do. And I finally did it, and I'll be damned, the shit works, man.
I got a question.
Okay,
So, originally you said that you got hooked on this mainly because of prescription drugs, right?
right.
What would you do now if you got to take them? I mean, how would you handle that?
Well, I will give you a prime example of that. I um, I had a toothache, and I never had toothaches and stuff or whatever. And I go to the dentist, and they tell me I've got this condition in my gums, and that they're gonna have to pull all of my teeth out. And I said, no, the fuck you're not. And they said, yes, we are. They're just gonna fall out. So I was like, man, I really got to do this. And at this time, I was sober, and I said, I'm a drug addict. I can't take any kind of pain medicine. You're talking about pulling all my teeth out. And if you're going to do that, I'm getting some implants. I'm not going to be messing around. I have no teeth or whatever. And so I'm just sitting here thinking, all of this pain, what am I going to do? Well, I went through every bit of it, and they had to shave bone on both sides of my bottom and everything. And I went through every bit. I mean, they numbed it. I went through this whole process. This all took a year long, man, to get teeth back in and do all this stuff. And I
Yeah.
never took the first narcotic pain pill. I took Tylenol and ibuprofen, and I never had the first bit of pain, Nick. It never hurt me at all. Um, I mean, it was a little uncomfortable, you know what I mean? But
Right.
I went through all that, but I do think about them things, man. And a guy was talking about that a while ago. He said he had kidney stones, and he said he had to lay there in the hospital, curled up in a bed, crying like a little bee, because he couldn't take it. You cannot. I don't care what you got going on, you can't take it, because if you do, then receptors are activated then, and here you go. There's no stopping you until you either die, go to jail, or you end up in another treatment center to get sober. So it's something that you think about. But and I know there's probably worse pain and things that go on worse than what I went through. But I'll say this: the dentist told me after it's all over with, he said, "I'm gonna tell you right now, man, you are a trooper." He said, "I didn't believe you was gonna do it." And he said, "You sit there, you never moved, you went through every bit of it, you never complained." And I was like, I was set in my mind. I knew I had to do it because at the time I was sober, man, and I was gonna stay that way. And had I went the other way and said, "Oh, the addict side of you, oh, it's hurting so bad," I could have come up with all kind of things, and there I would have went, but I didn't. Um, I'm a pretty tough guy, but it was scary. I'll say that it's scary sitting there going through that because they numb it up, and I'm going, oh man, I'm still gonna feel this shit, and because I had never had this shit done, I didn't know what it was gonna be like. You know what I mean? Uh, I'm that old and going through it, and I remember my feet shaking so bad at the like while they're doing it, and I was just remember how like it was just that nervous adrenaline or whatever it is, you know.
Yeah.
But I did it, man, and I kept backing out on the shaving the bone. I kept saying, no, I don't want to do that, man. I don't want to do that. He's like, you got to do it, or these implants are never going to work if we don't do that. If you don't do this, they're not ever going to work. I was like, I don't care, man. I'm not doing it. I'm gonna let you do it. I didn't let you do enough. And then I said, okay, man, do it. Go ahead and do it. And I said, no, no, just wait. Let's just wait. And I finally said, all right, man. But that was an awful sound. Just, and,
So did they do it all at one time, or did you have to do different appointments for all
I had
this?
to do it differently. They took them all out and shaved all the bone at one time. And then I had to heal up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then we went back. All together, it probably took about 6 times, probably something like that. Maybe four or
Yeah,
five.
but you only had the pain one time, right?
Right. Yeah. It was only one time because they do everything to get you ready for the teeth or whatever to go back in all at the same time. So, yeah, they're pretty much going to put it right back in the hole that come out of, and so yeah, it's all it was an ordeal. But I remember the day that they took them out, going when we left there. I'm going, man. I'm started that addict inside of me started saying, oh man, you're fixing to be in all kind of pain. You might want to tell him to give you some just in case. You know what I mean? That just in case would have been me straight to the drugstore getting them and taking the whole bottle. Um, and so I didn't do it, man. I didn't, and I was proud of myself for that. Really. Um,
Well, I am. I mean, that's why I was wondering because I know that day is going to come when you're going to have to do something.
yeah, and I
It's
know
going to be
people.
hard enough not to.
I know people in the program who um, will get the prescription if it's something very very serious that they can't deal with or whatever, because there is some things that their pain's pain, and they will give their pills to their sponsor, and he will dose them to them as needed. But in my mind, like they could have put me to sleep and done it, and I read on it. I started reading on that stuff on how they put you to sleep, right? And they said it was a
Right. Well, that's
50-50 said it's a 50-50 chance on that reacting to receptors. So I said, no, I'm not taking it. That's too much, too close. I'm not even going to think about taking that chance. And so um, I didn't. I just said, no, I'm going to sit here and go through it. And I did. When I think he was doing the top, and then he got to the bottom, and right, the ones in the front, I was like, man, I can feel that a little bit. You know what I mean? And he stopped, and then he would numb me some more. And that's part of it was the worst part, because man, they're jerking your freaking teeth out of your head, and I'm thinking, man, please be numb enough, please be numb enough. I had a good dentist, and the guy that helped him was good, and uh, they wouldn't let Beth stay in there, and she got pissed off, but and it was just, I'm already in this. This is a pretty traumatizing situation. I don't need you being all pissed off either, out there like I didn't want you in there. It was just a shit show on that end of it, but as far as everything else, it was okay. Um, I ate something the first day, even after it all stopped bleeding and shit. I can't remember what it was now, but um, and like the next day, it was just pretty much just I didn't want to be biting down or anything real hard or anything like that, but yeah, um, I had another time I was sober. I had something going with my foot and my left foot, like right there behind um, my big toe. There's something that it just all of a sudden started hurting right there, like when I stepped down, but it was like a stinging, burning pain. It's like, some kind of pain I never had before. And I went to the doctor, and first thing you tell them is I'm a drug addict, so I can't have narcotic pain pills. And unfortunately, that can go one of two ways. They're either going to treat you the same or they're going to treat you different. I got treated different. And basically, they were telling me wasn't nothing wrong with me. Man, the next day I couldn't even walk on my foot. But it wasn't swollen. It wasn't red. And still to this day, I don't know what that was, but I didn't take no pills for it. But I ended up having to have one of those shoe things and a cane and a crutch, and because I couldn't put pressure down on it. But I still don't know what it was. It wasn't gout or anything like that. Hey, Andy. It was. um, yeah, it's just like a, I don't know, like a bone spur maybe or something like that maybe,
Could have
but it
been.
just went away.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think that's just that evil is trying to get you to go back to what you were doing. You know what I mean?
It could have been. Yeah.
Yeah,
Something
but
psychologically.
yeah, yes. I willed it to have the pain, so maybe I'd have an excuse to uh, get something or whatever. I don't know. Who knows?
So you said earlier that you've had your own businesses, right?
Yep.
So how how come you haven't started making money like that again? I mean, if you made such good money before, why are you
Because
doing it now?
because I'm doing this. My whole goal
Can't
is
you do both?
I could. I didn't know how much time and all this that this was going to take. You know what I mean? I can go. I can go. All I have to do is activate an app on my phone, and my phone will be ringing so much that I need someone else to answer it for me. Um, so I can. I'm okay at the moment. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's what it was about. I knew that I'd be okay for X amount of time and see how this thing goes. You know what I'm saying? Because my goal is to get into the motivational speaking. That's my goal. And I tried to do it with everybody not knowing who I was, and it's just not going to work. You know what I'm saying? And so that's where this came in at. And then I found this, and I started liking this, and I'm happy with the way it's going. Things are going really good. And even my downloads are still, in my opinion, they're still going good. Um, better than I and faster than I thought they would. So I think overall people are liking what I got to say. It's just here lately the numbers as far as on here when we're live and all that it went down. I know why that is. No, I don't. No, I don't, Nick. I don't know why that. Let me say that I don't know why that is. Because I feel like I was done very very shitty in that whole situation. I'm not going to go into it, but it
Right.
had absolutely not one fucking thing to do with me. Nothing.
Well, I
And
don't
I'm the
think
one
that
that got
can
shit
interrupt.
on for whatever reason.
No, no, I don't think that's going to interrupt that. I don't
Huh?
think. I don't think that'll interfere with that.
Oh,
What you need
uh,
to watch is what shows are really doing good on your downloads, and then that way you know how to focus. Kind of like
yeah,
I told you last night.
right. Yeah, and that's what I'm doing now. I'm looking at the ones that um for a while I did one called Reality, and I thought it was a really good one too. It was 29 minutes long, and that one had almost triple the numbers. But now everything's kind of caught up. The one that we did that night talking about prisons in America, it done very well. Um, and overall, I mean, they're all the one last night. It didn't do so good. I don't think it hadn't as of earlier. Um, I'll look later, but
The interview one with Hunter.
it didn't. I think it. Well, I think it had 20 downloads. I think, uh, and then I got some that's got
The one.
69 and 80 or 69 and 58 or something like that. And um, what I think, and another thing I think I need to watch too is that there's people that's been on here for a long time and they have loyal followings, and I'm probably coming on at the same time they are too. So I
Well,
may need to, huh?
I'll talk to you later about that.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but I'm happy with the way it's going. Um, because it's not just here. It's not just Podbeam. I'm I'm getting stuff everywhere now. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so it's working in that way too. But yeah, but again, the whole idea was me, getting my name out there and people knowing who I am. But if this other deal works out with this guy Dylan, I mean, I'm there. You know what I mean? Because that's really how all this stuff works. Is that you all these podcasters go on each other's show and you advertise through that show that's already made or whatever. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, if they'll support you.
Right. If they will support you, yeah. It's a matter of if they will. Um, but I think I don't know if it was me, it would be hard for me not to support someone like me. Um, But that's just me, uh, and that's probably my way of thinking, you know. Um, but it's
But a
okay.
lot of people out there that are just looking at one thing. Okay, he was in prison. They don't want nothing to do with you. They don't even
Yeah,
care.
yeah,
Just like me, there's a lot of people that say, "Hey, he's an alcoholic," even though I haven't drank in what 15 years, whatever it's
yeah.
been. They don't care. Actually, it's been
Right,
like 27 years since I've drank. But people don't care. They just know, hey, he was an alcoholic.
right, right.
So they won't even give you the time of the day.
I I wondered about it in the beginning, but I said, I'm not going to go in here and lie. I'm going to be an open book of who I am, right? And I figured people would respect that, and I thought that they were. And then not so much, and so, but it's okay. Uh,
Don't don't worry about it yet. I mean, just because you had 1 or 2 days that you didn't get a lot, I mean, it'll change.
yeah, yeah. I'm
Start
a
putting out your, pre-recorded and do a show, at least twice a week or something, and
right,
every time whenever you got it scheduled, and keep doing it.
right. Yeah, I'm gonna stay with the Monday, Wednesday, and Friday thing, and then I'm throwing in the records also because it isn't nothing for me to. If something comes to my mind that I feel I want to talk about, that's what I do. I just sit down and I just cut it on and I record it. Um, and I don't edit anything. I don't do all that. What do you think about that? You think I should start editing and doing all that stuff?
I never did.
See, me, I would want to hear something that's more raw and more honest and more true. You know what I mean?
Well,
Um,
yeah, that's you and I, but yeah,
but we'll see. It's okay. I mean, from what I heard back a few days ago, was that someone asked me about downloads and said, "No way," and I was like, "Yeah." And it was like, "Well, that's numbers like such and such gets," and I was like, but I didn't know if they was just blowing smoke up my ass or what. You know what I mean?
right.
Because a lot of times people have an ulterior motive, man, and that's what we got to remember. Um, but
Well,
you know,
you just
I
have to
uh,
find out
I'm gonna stay
there
on top of
and
that guy and get in touch with that guy Dylan because that would be an awesome thing to have there, and that's how it works, man. I mean, you meet somebody who knows somebody or whatever. Everybody needs help. I don't care who you are. Um,
yeah, but you can't listen to everybody's bad remarks because
oh no, no, I'm gonna have them. I haven't had anybody really say anything bad to me though. Really, the only thing I had somebody say was that what was it? It's the same old story. That's what it was. It said, "Oh, it's just the same old story." And I was like, "No, it was just me. People getting to know who I am." And even the old man said, I said it to him. I said the day I was on his show that Friday or whatever. I said, I'm sure people will probably get tired. He said, "No, Dane, don't you stop telling that story. Don't you? Because that's who you are, and that is what people want to hear." And so um, he's been around a while. Maybe he knows. I don't know. I think it's okay because here's the thing. Every day I can look and I've had one, two, three downloads. Sometimes I look and it's grown five. You know what I mean? And so
right.
if it's growing, I might not be getting 500 downloads a day or whatever. That's okay. Um, don't nobody know who I am. And so, uh, and another thing I think people look at on here is when people are new or whatever is when you're going down through there, like right now on there, you see these other shows, they got the numbers there at the bottom, 63.9 thousand, 6.3 thousand. Then you get to mine and I've got 115. So that says to a lot of people, oh, well, this must not be that good. You know what I mean?
No,
Um,
that just tells them you're new.
no, okay. And what about
You're
this? So I've got it. I'm in the life category. What category you think I should be in, Nick?
I think that's okay.
Yeah, me too.
Maybe friends. I don't know.
Friends would be Good. It's not so much entertainment, huh?
No. What about education?
Education. That would be that. That should be. That's exactly what I need to do. I'm glad you said that. Yeah, education. And here's another thing. And this may be, you know, Nick. I know the Bible from the beginning of the Bible to the back of the Bible. Okay, I
Okay.
studied it. I ate it. I lived it. I breathed it. I did everything. And sometimes I wonder. I thought about it. I thought, man, maybe you ought to start another show and do a Bible study because if you look on here, there's not a whole lot of that. There's um here anyway. There's a lot of stuff that's everywhere else. You know what I'm saying? So that's something to think about too. Um,
Well,
but
just keep it part of yours, but you know, just put a religion and talk about the Lord helping you.
yeah,
You talk about it all the time, so see what you get on religion.
I think I
Uh,
may do that. I think that's a good idea. Um, yeah,
it'll
I think that's a
surprise
great
you.
idea because I love it. I do. I ain't gonna lie about it. I do love the Bible. I love what it says because I feel that I have a different understanding of it than most people do. Because most people, they just listen to what the pastor says. They really don't study the Bible. Not everybody. There's a lot of people who do. Um, so maybe that's an idea. I might give it a
Is
shot.
there, is there any verses on addiction or alcohol or drugs of the time?
Oh yeah, there's verses on people that sell drugs and everything. It talks about a lot of different stuff in there.
And that's what
You
you could
know,
focus on.
huh?
That's what you could focus on.
Yeah, yeah. You're probably right. One of my favorite verses in the Bible is in Matthew 22, and Jesus says, "Come to me, all ye who are burdened, I will give you rest." And to me, that's who he's talking to, right? Um, and that's one of my favorite ones. And there's a lot of them, though. There's a lot of different ones. Paul talks about all kind of different things. That's the thing about Paul. The New Testament. Um, and Paul's story alone, is pretty freaking wild. At one point he was out to kill the Christians, and then he got struck down the road to Damascus and all that stuff. And he went from Saul to Paul, and he wrote 13 of the New Testament books that we know of, or letters, whatever you want to call them. They're letters, but that they know of. But we know that First and Second Corinthians was not the first of it. There's because the way First Corinthians starts out, there was a book before, so there's another one. So that's 14, and then I think he wrote Hebrews, which would make it 15. But everything kind of got lost, and it's they know where it is, but they won't let them to the original manuscripts and stuff. Why? I don't know, but they won't. So it's kind of been. But if you take and get you a Strong's Concordance, what's called a Strong's Concordance, it has every single word in the Bible, and it has the Hebrew meaning of the word. Because here's the thing: because of the translations, the word land doesn't mean the same thing as it does over here, or earth. It'll be earth, and it should be land. Earth just means land. You see what I'm saying? And,
Okay.
and I heard you real good then.
Yeah, I got
But
my mic on now. I had
uh,
to, I'm home, so I was able to go grab my mic while you were talking.
there, one of the things is this. This is probably going to trip some people out. This may actually interest some people. So we all have always heard the same thing. Eve ate this apple, and this caused uh, everything to happen. The fall of man and all this stuff. Unfortunately, that's not what the Bible says. It never mentions a apple anywhere. It just says the fruit of the tree. But that's not what went on there. Um, that it's not what happened at all. Cain and Abel. That story there, everybody knows it. Cain is not in Adam's genealogy. I wonder why that is.
I promise you, I don't know.
I know why. It was what went on. Our Bible tells us. We just have to study it and see what it is. So here's what went on. I'll tell you a quick little story on that. So everybody says that everybody came from Adam and Eve. The Bible does not say that. Adam and Eve were the bloodline that Jesus Christ would come through. Is what that was, and that's exactly how the story goes. Because Cain kills Abel, goes east to the land of Nod, and marries a woman. where did this woman come from? If everybody came from Adam and Eve, you see what I'm saying? Hey, Janet. Um, and so that alone, that's how that right there is how I really became so interested in the Bible. I had a Bible, and I was sitting there at a table, and he walked by me and he stuck his finger out. He said, "What do you know about that book?" And I said, "Absolutely nothing." And, uh, he sat down and we started reading. He said, "Listen, first and foremost, anything I tell you, it's your job to go back and study it and figure out if I'm telling you the truth or not." And I was like, "Okay, I respect that, because I know we can take and twist it and turn it any way, but you can't twist it and turn it any way if you go and study it in Hebrew and Greek." So what went on is Isaiah talks about it, and Paul talks about it too. Eve was seduced by Satan. What does the word seduce mean? It means a sexual act. Cain is the devil's child. Um, and the whole serpent thing and all that came about. We think of it as being a snake or whatever, this, that, and other. Isaiah tells us that the devil, how beautiful he was and how whatever, because you got to remember. So the whole act went on, supposedly this eating of the apple. Okay, then here comes God. All right. Now suddenly
Okay.
they know they're naked all of a sudden, right? They cover up their nakedness. But I thought they'd done wrong with their mouth. Why did they cover up their nakedness? See what I'm saying?
Okay.
If it would have been, I'd done okay, think about it. If you have a chocolate cake sitting there and a kid eats it, and you go up and you say, "Did you eat that cake?" What's the first thing a kid's gonna do? Nope, they're gonna rub their mouth. Right?
Yeah.
Nope. Nope, I didn't. So that, why did they cover their nakedness? Because that's what went on. Eve had sex with the devil, then had sex with Adam, and that was his wife. And so there's Cain and Abel. There was twins because when she has them, it says that she had one, then again had the other one. That means to continue in birth is what the Hebrew word means. To continue in birth. There's only one way to continue in birth, and that is
That's
twins.
twins.
Right, and it's a proven scientific fact, Nick, that if me and you were to go and have sex with a woman back to back, she can get pregnant with twins. One of them will be mine, one of them will be yours. It's happened, and it's been proven scientifically that it can happen, and that's what went on. That's why
Hmm.
and people think differently about the mark that was put up on Cain. I really don't know about that. I didn't get into all that because it's whatever. But yeah, that's what went on. The Bible tells us all this. We just have to read it and study it. Anybody who's heard this and listen to what I'm saying, I can tell you exactly how you can find out and read it for yourself, and you'll be like, "Oh my God, all this time I've been taught this." You know what I'm saying? But what happens is, here's what happens with that. You've got these idiots who want to say Adam and Eve were white, so the chosen people of God are white. It doesn't say that, man. It does not say that either. You see what I'm saying? But if you take a young mind and you tell them that, oh, you're just breeding this hate, and that's what them people out there in Utah and all that they do, and it's God's gonna make them pay for doing that. But um, yeah, so that's what went on because Cain is not in Adam's genealogy. Now, if you ask a modern day preacher this, they'll tell you all kind of different reasons why that is, but they can't show me in the Word of God that that's what it is. You see what I mean? If you can
Right.
show me that it says that in the Bible, then I'm all for it. But if you can't, I'm not all for it. Religion came in and took over, and so they want to stand up there and tell you a feel good story, so you'll put more money in that plate, and you're
Well,
not
I
supposed to be
believe
doing.
that. I
Yeah,
believe
and
that.
they're not going to get up there and tell you about damn and hellfire and all this, but hell is not what people make it out to be either. Hell just means to be separated from God. Is what that means. You're going to be separated from God, so you're going to be left with the what have you. And the Bible definitely talks about everything going on now. Um, there's just
Well,
nowadays
why
they
don't
want to
you
talk.
try that?
I think I will, man. I think I will give that a shot.
At least
Um,
try one or two live ones in there and
yeah,
put down, the book of Joseph or, whatever book you want to read out of
yeah,
or phrases or like I said, I'm not a Bible guy, so you'll have to teach me that as we go, but uh try it and see a couple shows, do maybe a couple recordings and see how those compare to the ones that you've done.
I think that's what I'm gonna do tonight. I think I'm gonna put something together on this whole. I'm gonna start at the beginning because I think that's what we're supposed to do, and see if I get a following on it. We'll just take it all the way through.
Yeah,
Um,
because
I got all kind
you
of stuff
may
that,
get a whole bunch of different. You'll get different followers.
yeah, and I'll get a bunch of different views too, but that's okay. I'm open to that.
You may
You
get
can,
other people that will jump on and help you even go farther
yeah, and
through
that would be,
the religious part of it.
yeah. I've always been excited about it because here's the thing, and here's what I did. So when I decided that I was going to learn the Bible, I told God, I prayed to him. I said, if you'll let me learn this, I'll give it away. But I don't give it away, Nick. You get me? I don't. I don't give it away. I don't talk about it. I don't do what I'm supposed to be doing. But when I do talk about it, man, I get excited. I love it. And my mind was like a sponge to it. It just absorbed all of it. And
Other than this, you need to try it
yep,
and
I do. I
and
do.
give
And I'm
away
going
His
to.
words, and
hmm
I mean, see what happens.
I'm going to put something together and I'm going to do a pre record on this whole Adam and Eve deal and put it out there. But see, that's the thing. It says religion. I'm not. Does it? Is there one for spirituality? I think it is. I do think it is. Um, and
Well,
see
there
how it
may be.
goes.
I know there's. I do know there's religion, but I don't know. There may be something underneath religion, for spirituality.
I took a theology course, correspondence through them, and it was hard. It was so freaking hard. The Old Testament stuff was hard, man. But I passed that baby, and it took me a long time. It took me about 6 years to do it. So I probably know the Bible more than I know anything else, Nick. To be honest about it, I would say, um,
Okay.
without a doubt. Um, but I was always one of the people that like I would talk about it, and when I do talk about it, I get people's attention. I've seen that. But some people are going to find it to be so far fetched until they take the time to listen. Because most people that are Christians or whatever, they're dead set in what they believe, and that's because their pastors told them that. You know what I'm saying? Um, but unfortunately, we see in the world today so many pastors, they're just leading you astray, and it's sad. And maybe I am missing my calling, Nick. Maybe that's what I'm supposed to be doing, man.
Well, we need to at least try it.
I'm going to. I'm gonna put one
And
together tonight about Adam and Eve. I'm gonna read up on it again just to make sure I'm polished up, and I read it all the time, and I know that story very well, and
well, what I think you need to get a couple of them together to last at least a good 45 minutes to an hour,
yeah, hmm
and then maybe even a couple more in case you get a good, following in the room that night.
yeah.
And then let's try it.
I'm
I
going
mean,
to. I'm gonna give it
it
a
ain't gonna
shot,
hurt
man.
nothing.
No, it's not gonna hurt anything at all.
I
Um,
mean, because
so
you know
do I
what,
need
you're
to?
gonna do it under Dane Cantry anyways, right?
Right. Yeah.
So the people that are downloading your episodes are gonna see it anyways. They're,
Can I
we're
do
just
it
gonna try
through?
and catch.
Do I need to start a whole nother channel, or just do it through this one?
Oh,
Do it
do
through
it right
this one.
to the way you're
Yeah.
doing this one, but
Right.
instead of putting the show under life or whatever,
Right. Put it in
put it under
religion or whatever.
religion.
hmm
And like I said, you got a lot of people that won't even go into religion because they're not religious.
Right.
So they're not even gonna look down there.
Right.
But you got a lot of people that are very religious, and that's the only things they go to
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of them. If you look on there, that's the biggest shows on here. Um, as
by a
far as
long ways.
yeah, as far as like the number wise go, and I could be teaching. I mean, here's the thing about it: it's going to grasp your attention. It's going to grasp people's attention. Anyone who's whatever, especially someone who's searching and just don't buy the whole story that we're being taught. Because I mean, it's so simple, Nick. It's really right in front of our eyes, but we don't see it because this pastor is telling us it's this. The Bible does not say that. The Bible never says that. It says there was not a man and woman to till the garden. The garden of what? The Garden of Eden. That's what the whole story was. And it's umbilical cord. The word Eve means mother of all living, umbilical cord to umbilical cord. It was the whole family to Jesus Christ. It's
And
impossible, even though they lived 900 years, that everybody came from them. Come on, man. That's just impossible. It's not scientific. It's not anything. I don't really go in the scientific thing. but it's just not possible. If that was the case and everybody came from them, Cain would have not have been afraid of the people out there outside of the garden. He'd have been his family. See what I'm saying? Why was he afraid? Why did he say he's going to be a vagabond when they will do this to me? And God says, I'm going to put a mark upon you that at least anyone touch you, they surely die. Because it had to be that way. And that's what God's talking about. This, what her seed would do and what would happen, and this, that, and the other, because it was a seed of Satan. There's two seed lines, and this is another deal in theology. Some people, there's a lot of people who believe in the two seed lines. There's a lot of people who don't. But as far as the Bible goes, that is exactly what the Bible says.
Okay. Well,
It's just
I
it's just
I think we need to try it.
I'm going to. I'm gonna put the Apple Story is one of the greatest books I've ever read, but it's not the Bible. So you see what I'm saying? And so when you get this so-called, there's a lot of propaganda, and you have to be careful because these white supremacists and stuff want people to believe that the white people are chosen people of God. Um, it's just not true. And there's so many books that's left out of the Bible. And so a lot of people don't even know this. There's like the Catholic Bible. It has what's called the Apocrypha in it, and this is books that were left out of our Bible. When King James decided what books went in. So there's 66 in our modern day Bible, right? We have 66 letters. They're not books; they're letters. They're letters that was written by all these different men and all these different 1,000 years apart. And there's so many things in there that there's no way that they knew back then. They didn't have no kind of technology and all this stuff. There's no way they could have known them things if it wasn't God telling them these things. And so you have to think about that too. And when Jesus is on the cross and he says, my Father, why have thou forsaken me? Read Psalm 22. David said the same thing. That's what he's quoting. He's quoting the 22nd Psalm. But we don't look at that because we don't go back and study and see that. You see what I'm saying? He wasn't saying, he was just saying the same things that David did. And God, of course, saved David. And another thing is this: every great man in the Bible besides Jesus Christ was a man like me at one time. They was all heathens. David had sex with another man's wife and got her pregnant and had him killed to hide it. See what I'm saying? That's David. That's King David we're talking about. This is, the same one that killed the giant and all this stuff, killed Samson and all this stuff. And then Abraham was the same way. He lied and said that Sarah was his sister, and let her go with the king of that. And the angels of God come and got her back and all these different things. But everybody was a heathen. Paul was killing Christians. And he'd come out to be the writer, like I said a while ago, of all these books. And Jesus hung out with people like me. Not that he didn't love people that was doing right. It wasn't that way, but he come to heal the sick. You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
And we forget that things. And if I was to walk into a church, a modern day religious church today, and say, "Hey, my name is Dane Gentry. I'm a lifelong drug addict. I spent 21 years in prison. I was the president of a well-known organization for years. But today, my life is God. I know the Bible. Can I stand up here and talk to you honest?" They would tell me, "No, get out of my church." And
Probably.
that, yeah, I
Yeah.
know. I already know without a doubt. I've had preachers almost cuss me out because I asked them that question. I said, "Hold on, who is this lady and who are these people that Cain is going to be afraid of?" That would be his family if you're telling me everybody came from Adam. Oh, no, no. And they can't give me an answer. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Because all they want to preach is, if you give your life to Jesus Christ, you're good and you're fine. The Bible says your name can be taken out of the book of life just as fast as it can be put in there. So they're already lying to you and they're already setting you up for failure already. You see, you hear the passion in my voice now, don't you hear? I start getting
Yeah.
excited.
No. I.
I
That's
start
why
getting.
I think you need to do it. At least
I'm
try.
going to.
A couple
Yeah.
nights and see what kind of response you get from it.
I'm
You know.
I'm probably gonna I could probably do a recording tonight before I go to bed because I think I hyped up on it now, thinking about it, and
Well,
it
if you
gets me
decide you
closer to
want to
God.
do a live show on there, let me know. I
We
mean,
will. We'll do some live too because I want people's feedback on it. And there's going to be so many different people who are going to say, "Well, what about this and what about that?" And that's I'm going to say the same thing. Let's get a Strong's concordance and let's sit down and let's study it. You know, let's learn together. Then, if I'm wrong and you're right, show me that you're right. I'm that kind of guy. I'm not going to argue about. I will never argue about it. I
right?
will just say, show
Show me
me
where I'm misunderstood.
right. Show me in the Word because I can show you and I can prove mine. And so Let's do this. And if I promise you, if people will listen to me, and I'm not going to tell you anything that I can't prove that the Bible says, but if you will let me take you there, you will have so much of a clearer understanding now. You'll be so much closer to God, and you're going to be like, wow, now it all makes sense, man. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's what happened with me. And that's where I found my love in it. That guy, this guy is a man that I love dearly because of that, because he took the time to walk by me and ask me that question. What do I know about that book? And I said, absolutely nothing. And he said, well, you're going to learn it. And I said, all right, let's learn it.
Let's learn it.
And I did. I got me some learning. It took a long
And
time.
and you told
Uh,
God you told him in your prayer that
yep.
you would give him, how did you say it? You'd give him away?
Yeah. I said, if you will let me understand this, I'll give it away to others. I will teach others. And that's basically what it is. And it's teaching others. And here's what here's what I used to say is that I went through this whole, man, I went through this back and forth, back and forth. And um, I would say, maybe I'm supposed to be a preacher. And I'd say, no, I'm not polished enough. I cuss and all these different things. I dip, you know what I mean? And I always do. I'll never be that. And so I was already setting myself up, talking myself out of doing it. You see what I'm saying?
Dude, I've sold guns to preachers.
Oh, I
So
know. Yeah. Yeah. I know
that ain't,
that.
you can't have that stuff hold you back.
Because I have a different understanding anyway. This watered down, weak Jesus that we believe, that's not Jesus, man. That is not Jesus. I'm sorry. He's giving you an analogy when he says turn the other cheek. He's talking about when you go and do something good for somebody and they shit on you, turn the other cheek and help them again. He's not talking about nobody literally slapping him in the face, man. You know what I'm saying? But they
Right.
teach that, oh, we got to be this, that, and this. Sorry to put it this way, this poor little pussy ass society. No, we're not supposed to be that, man. We're supposed to be warriors of God. And I don't mean go out here and killing people and all that. You're supposed to stand up for God, and we don't. We don't do that. We let them take the 10 Commandments out of everything. We let the atheists run it, and now look what's happened to America. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
People go back and study. Whenever we started taking God out of everything, look what started happening in this country. That's when everything started happening, man. Everything went away. It wasn't that long ago that they prayed in school and done all these different things. And, we took God out, infidelity started. And I'm going to tell you, that's another thing, man. People don't realize how serious infidelity is. That is a big, big no no. God talks about it time and time again. Um, and why is that? Because it all started with Adam and Eve in the very beginning. These people ain't getting it. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
It's interesting. It's definitely
Hmm.
interesting. When I understood that all of those people were just like Moses killed a man. I mean, it can go on and on. And I haven't killed anybody. I wasn't that bad. You know what I mean? I was pretty bad. I wasn't that bad. Um, I was a heathen, but every great man besides Jesus Christ was too. I mean, you know where the word doubting Thomas comes from? You heard that before? Doubting Thomas? You're a doubting
Doubting
Thomas?
Thomas?
Yeah, you're a
No.
doubting Thomas, like people who's all that negative all the time. That comes from the Bible. It comes from when after Jesus was resurrected, he comes back. He's on the shore of the Sea of Galilee there, and he's walking down through there, and they see him through the fog. And Thomas says, "I will not believe it unless I can touch the holes in your hand." And that's where the whole saying "Doubting Thomas" come from.
Okay. That,
Thomas, he was one of the disciples, is who he was. But
yeah,
um,
I don't know.
man, I'm telling you, Nick, I think I'm right. I think we had this conversation for a reason, and I love it, man. I do get excited about it, but I do get very passionate about it too. But I refuse to argue about it. And I refuse to get caught up on what's called endless genealogies because people try to turn it into that. They try to turn the whole Adam and Eve thing. Well, the word Adam means rosy cheeks show blood in the face. Okay. What does that mean? You think only white people show blood in the face? No, no. But these idiots turn it into that. And you take away and all you're doing is causing hate, man. That's all you're doing. You're taking these young minds and you're ruining them and making them hate each other. And when we all need to love each other, that's all we need to do, man. That's all we need to do. No matter what, I might not like what you do. I might not like what he does. That don't mean I don't love him because that's what God wants us to do. And if we would do that, our society would be so much better.
So
But
let me ask you a question then.
okay.
Like I said, to love them, what are you calling love?
So there's so
Is
many
that
different,
respect or is that
yes.
care or is that
Yes, agape.
uh,
Look up agape. AGAPE, and there's your meaning of love that I'm talking about. It's a genuine care for people and humans. You see what I'm saying? That doesn't mean love them as we love our wife and our kids and all these different
no? But
things. But you see
when I hear
someone,
love someone, I think, oh, I had to, you
no,
know, they I had to care about everything they do and care about them. And I guess I
um,
need to look it up because to me, love is a whole different, I guess,
right.
word.
There's so many different meanings of the word love, but just look up agape love, and that'll give you more of an understanding of the kind of universal
Okay.
love. Um, and that just means loving a person because they're a human being, man. You know what I mean? And we don't. We see this person over here struggling on the side of the street, and we drive right on by them like they ain't shit. Yeah, they are something, man. They're somebody's child. They're possibly somebody's father, brother, husband. They're a human, so they are somebody. Every human is somebody, but we don't do that. I don't do it. You know what I mean? I will give money out here or there, but I know what they're doing with it. So I'd rather buy them something to eat because I firsthand definitely know what they're doing. But you buy them something to eat, a lot of times, man, they'll throw it on the ground. So you
Yes.
know,
Yes.
it's hard to have that kind of love for somebody like it. I get it. You know what I mean? But love your neighbor, man. That's the most important law. Love your God and love your neighbor as yourself. And so, and then there's people who will take that and say, well, if it's not directly my neighbor, I ain't gotta love them. Come on, man. You know what I
He doesn't live
mean?
on my street. Bye.
Right. He doesn't live on my street. Why I gotta love him for? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I
it's mm, yeah, I think you've talked me into it, Nick.
I hope it. I think you need to try it. I
I'm
don't
going
know
to.
where it's going to go. I don't know what's going to happen. It may take, it may take longer to get you out there because I don't
I
know.
don't think so.
But
And there's a
you may
couple.
go out there faster.
I don't think
You may
so. And there's
triple.
a there's a there's a couple reasons why I don't think so. We'll talk about that later. But
Okay.
um, because from the get go, from the first time I come on Podbean, I said to myself, maybe I need to go in here and do a Bible study, man. That's not. Ain't nobody going to hear that. I'm letting that negative in now. Ain't nobody going to hear what I had to say. But
Well,
in reality, if you will just give me 5 minutes and listen to me and then go look for yourself, you'll see that, damn, maybe this old dude might know what he's talking about.
I mean, you can take a screenshot, right, of on your. Well, you do it on your computer, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, you need to figure out how you can take a picture and transfer it onto here so that when you're doing your Bible or you're
Mm-hmm.
talking about the Bible or the different phases,
Right.
you can put it on there and let people like me read it, and then I could sit there and say, okay, maybe you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I
See.
know you can't show that on the people that are going to download it, but if the
Right.
people that are in your show can see what you're talking about and you can discuss it with the people in your show, they're going to download it and then they're going to pass it on to other people and say, "Oh man, uh, Dane, put this in there and I was able to read it and I understand it."
Right. Yeah. We're probably on to something there, buddy. Um, and I think that let's see.
That's what's bad is I help you more than I help my own show. I wish I could do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
Actually, man, I think we've been going for about an hour and 20 minutes. I think I'm gonna cut it off because I want to get some stuff done.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna go and I'm gonna get it put together, man. I'm gonna put it out there and see what happens, Nick.
I would. I
All
would.
right. Thank everybody
Okay,
that
dude.
came in the show. I appreciate it, and we'll see y'all next time. See you, Nick.
Talk to you later, Dane.
All right, buddy.